Welcome to SibSpot. Today's stories from Reddit are about entitled parents. Our first story is by Senor Ghost Zero. Entitled family of tourists cut in line because they think they deserve special treatment, but my boss puts the parents in their place. So this story took place a few weeks ago. So, as many might know from recent entitled parents posts, I work at a small retail store in a city that tends to attract tourists. Not a lot, but some tourists. We have had numerous encounters with entitled tourists that this is the third story I'm putting on Reddit. Now on to the story. This particular evening, we were less than half an hour away from closing when this family of tourists comes in and starts walking around the store. 10 minutes before closing, my coworker Alan announced on the intercom that we were closing in 10 minutes. Since we had, I'm guessing, around 30 to 45 people in the store, of course the line began to get longer. Cue the entitled tourists. I got to the second register so that we can get the line flowing a little bit faster. All of a sudden, I hear a commotion in the back half of the line. Then, all of a sudden, the entitled tourists of our story zoom to the register before the customer at the front of the line put down her stuff at the register. Here was the interaction I had with the parents. Me, you are aware you cut everyone that was in line, right? The entitled dad, yeah, because we're in a big rush. I didn't know you closed this early. We always close at 8 p.m. Me, sir, you have to go to the back of the line, otherwise I won't scan your items. Entitled dad, no, my family and I are not going to the back of the line. Meanwhile, the people that were in line were shouting at this family to go to the back. Me, sir, either go to the back of the line and wait like everyone here, or leave your stuff and leave. Entitled mother, don't you talk to my husband like that. We want to talk to your manager. Something about David. He's the type of guy that will side with the employee no matter how rude or entitled the customer is. He also doesn't believe in the customer is always right. So we get the manager, David, obviously it's not his real name, walks to the register I'm at and immediately, entitled mother, this blank scolded my husband because he accused us of cutting in line. Random shopper, that's because you did cut the line, blank. David pulling out his iPad. Is this you guys? He shows them the footage of the family cutting in line. The look on their faces, priceless. David, I'll give an ultimatum. Either go to the back of the line like OP instructed all of you to do, or leave right now and you won't be allowed to shop here anymore. We have a long line, and both of you have been nothing but a nuisance. Just because you're tourists doesn't mean you get special treatment. You follow the rules just like everyone here. So what's it going to be? The entitled parents tried to plead their case using the "we're in a big rush" card, only for my boss to shoot it down by saying, you chose to show up half an hour before closing, and both of you chose to be an inconvenience for everyone around you. In the end, the entitled parents and the rest of the family left their stuff on the register and walked out with the priceless face of defeat. Because of this encounter, Alan and I had to stay an extra 20 minutes just so we can get everyone out. Most customers thanked me for not caving in to the parents' demands. Some gave me high fives and fist bumps. Moral of the story? Don't cut in line, folks. Man, it is one of my biggest pet peeves when people cut in line. People used to do it all the time in college dinner line, and I just wanted to drop kick them. Of course, I never did. Story 2 is by Nifty Goblin. Dad ruins my high school graduation by getting drunk on my mom's tab. I'm not entirely sure this fits perfectly here, but I wanted to share it. My dad has a bad drinking problem, makes him pretty much incapable of functioning. He has, I think, around a grand total of 14 DUIs. He and my mom got divorced when I was 5. He was absent a lot through the ages of 9 through 13, and we've had a lot of issues over the years. One thing he always brags about is that he's been to all of my graduations. That's technically true, but he's ruined most of them. My high school graduation, we went to eat at the Mexican restaurant after. My dad was unemployed. He's later managed to get disability, but he didn't have that at the time, and living out of a garage. My mom offered to pay for his food since he couldn't. The meal was fine at first. We were having a good time. Then my dad ordered the first jumbo margarita. When he ordered the second, my mom flew off the handle and basically had to run outside the building to avoid strangling my father over the tortilla chips. My brother and his, at the time, girlfriend ran out after my mom to help calm her down. I was left at the table with my dad and my mom's on-off boyfriend. Mom's boyfriend is a problem maker, so this was a problem. When the waitress came over, my dad tried to order a third margarita. The waitress told him it wasn't a good idea and asked if my mom was okay with that. Mom's boyfriend was laughing and asked my dad, "You gonna let her tell you what to do? You're entitled to a drink." My dad literally started berating this poor woman and told her, "I'm a grown blanket man and I can have another drink if I want one." My butt was basically losing it at this point, and I was telling him not to be a jerk and that he was making a scene. To which I got told, "I'm your father. You can't talk to me that way." By the time my mom came in, they immediately started going at it. We basically had to just pay the check and leave. My dad obviously can't drive, so we also had to drive him home. He basically just called my mom swears as we drove away. If you ask him, though, absolutely none of that happened, and he was a perfect, supportive dad during the graduation. Drunk people generally ruin everything. I've learned this about drunk people in my years. The only people that like drunk people are other drunk people. People that don't drink or aren't drinking for the night generally can't stand obnoxious drunks. Story 3 is by Anna Bear, 95. My mom keeps demanding I give her a grandchild. Hey everyone, long post, but I'm wanting everyone's opinions on this. Just wanted to see how others would respond to the same comments I received from my mom. I'm 27, child-free, and have never been a maternal person. Earlier on last year, I was diagnosed with a chronic progressive nerve disease called complex regional pain syndrome, CRPS. I had an injury at work 2.5 years ago and have had CRPS now for about 18 months. The injury was to my dominant hand, right hand, and my CRPS is from fingertips to side of my neck on my right side and stomach. CRPS has no cure and minimal treatments. I'm always in 7 to 10 pain, 24/7. My normal daily life is hard and I rely heavily on my partners to help me do the smallest things. I can't put on or take off shirts, bra, and some pants by myself. I can't cut up my own food, write, wash, dry, put my hair up by myself, prepare dinner, submerge my hands in water, do washing up or vacuuming because of vibrations, etc. If we have to travel out of town, it takes me 2 days to recover and I'm bedbound with a spew bucket for 2 whole days. The vibrations from the car causes me so much pain and I always have to have spew bags with me. I recently had a conversation with my mom about wanting to get my tubes tied. This is when she lost it at me. Was explaining to her how I can barely care for myself without my partner, let alone a child. Plus, pregnancy really ramps up CRPS and can cause me more issues, pain, and spreading of my condition. Plus, birthing, either naturally or C-section, can make the CRPS spread to my private organs. I was telling her that it would be selfish to have a child because I wouldn't be able to give a kid a proper life, and would be unfair on my partner too, as he'd always have to take on so much more responsibility. She told me I was selfish, and would live a sad and lonely life when I'm older, etc., that no reputable doctor would touch me if I asked them to tie my tubes. I asked her, "Well, what methods of contraception would you suggest then? I can't go on the pill or the rod because of my migraines. Contraceptives mess with the CRPS and make the pain worse due to hormones, and condoms aren't fail-safe." She replied, "You know my stance. I think it's a stupid decision and that you're selfish for even considering this." I've thought about all of this in the current medical situation I'm in, let alone how different and more difficult things will be if my CRPS spreads further, which pregnancy can make it spread. Especially if it's a C-section, which then poses more complications of the CRPS spreading to that site than causing lifelong complications with my reproductive organs, fertility, sexual ability, etc. I don't know what to do. My mom keeps saying that you need to give me a granddaughter. You're the only one left who can still have kids. I would love to have a biological grandchild. It's now up to you. She has 11 step-grandsons. No biological grandchildren, as I'm her only child. She's refusing to understand my concerns and just continues to berate me and call me selfish for not wanting to bring a child into the world that I physically can't care for. CRPS is an insanely cruel disease. Many people have had it for over 30 years and have it full body. I have extreme hypersensitivity, allodynia, in my affected limb. I can't stand material or anything touching my arm or hand and wear a sling most days. If something does touch my hand or brush my hand, I will be in tears and throwing up because of the pain. I can't even hold an empty coffee cup in my hands, let alone a child. One of the things that frustrates me the most is the fact that she's seen me in full-blown flare-up, crying, shaking, and throwing up because of the pain, fingers locking up, having to physically pry my fingers open after a massive pain spike that then caused severe cramping in my hand, having to use a walking stick or having my partner half carry me to bed while I'm bawling my eyes out because I can't walk, because of how much pain I'm in. She's seen all of this and still has the audacity to call me the selfish one. She lives 2.5 hours away and has stayed with me for a total of 2 nights in the 7 years I've lived in this town. I'm always the one who has to travel to see her. Plus now with this condition, traveling is becoming harder and harder to be able to tolerate. I'm just so frustrated and upset. Also, for anyone who's curious about CRPS, please look up the CRPS pain scale to better understand the level of pain we go through. I love my mom, but I'm so close to going no contact. The mother of this woman seems pretty desperate for a child. I can understand why they would feel this desperation, but they have to acknowledge their daughter's desires, as well as her limitations through her disability. We're all done for today. I hope you guys enjoyed your stay. If you enjoyed, please click like or leave a comment or subscribe if you're feeling generous. It helps my channel grow and get discovered. Until we meet again, have a fancy day.